Hello, good morning, and welcome back. My name, for anybody who is new here, is Danielle Gray. I am a manifestation and mindset coach, transformational teacher, and spiritual mentor, elevating you to your highest and best so that you can manifest a life that you love. Today, I wanted to talk about how you can turn a passion of yours, something you're passionate about, into a profitable online business that ultimately allows you to replace your 9 to 5 income. I'm very, very excited to talk about this. Now, first, I want to talk about why I'm talking about this, right? Why is this important? Why is this a topic of discussion? Why is this something I'm concerned about? So, first and foremost, I think if we've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's that job security is total crap, and anything can happen at any time, right? This last couple of years has been very eye-opening for a lot of us, and a lot of us have been laid off. Our companies have shut down. Our values have changed. Our eyes have been opened up to the reality of the world, right? Of what companies really just care about the bottom line, right? And unfortunately, I hate to say it like this, but unfortunately, God forbid, if you were to pass away, your job posting would be printed and posted well before your obituary. Okay, that's just the truth of it. And more than that, we are not meant, as human beings, the purpose of life is not to go to jobs we don't really love to be paid way under what we deserve, right? To do that for 40 plus hours a week, make somebody else's dreams come true, because somebody is making a ton of money, right? It's not us in this 9 to 5 jobs, but somebody is. And for most of us, I know when I was in the corporate world, you work 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are, Monday to Friday, undervalued, underappreciated, and you work enough to pay the bills, so there's not really extra, right? And then on top of all of that, we spend half the weekend, half of our only 2 days off a week, dreading going back to work on Monday, right? I remember when I was working, I remember when my husband was working, we used to, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, start to get anxious and just like, ugh, Monday's coming around the corner. You can't even enjoy the only 2 days off you have to yourself. You can't even enjoy that, because now you're thinking about all the things that are going to start happening on Monday when you go back to work, right? And then on top of all of that, you've got to plan your freedom, your fun, your vacations, your whatever, your life. You've got to plan it around, the 10 vacation days you get a year. That is not what life is about, right? That is not the purpose of life. That is not why we are here. We are here to expand and to enjoy life, to experience all that is available to us. And it's very hard to experience all that's available to us when we've only got a couple of hours every day during the week, when normally most of us are too tired or too exhausted or too annoyed with, maybe the customers or the people we work with or whatever, to actually enjoy life. And then, you get Saturday and Sunday to run errands, pay bills, catch up on laundry, clean the house, whatever you have to do. Maybe if you've got kids, you've got to run around doing things for them as well. So you can see how your alone time, your personal, enjoyment of life dwindles further and further away, right? That's not what life is about. Life is about experiencing all that life has to offer. And you need a lot more time than a couple of hours a day or 2 days a week or, 10 vacation days a year, or 15 if you're lucky, to experience that, right? And so even more importantly than all of that, the fact that if you are here watching this video right now, whether you're here live, which I much appreciate, or you're watching the replay, I would love, or hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. If you're here watching this, something in you knows that you're meant for more, which is why you're here watching this right now. Okay, nothing happens by accident. It's always on purpose. So if that's true, which it is, that means that you have a ripple effect to spread. Okay. And the best way to spread your ripple effect is by living in your purpose. Everybody on this planet has a purpose to fulfill. Some of us have bigger purposes than others. Like some of us, like Tony Robbins, are here to help hundreds and thousands and millions of people. Some of us are here because our purpose is to break generational curses and, clear up the lineage and move our family forward in a peaceful way, right? Sometimes the purpose is huge, sometimes it's small. Neither is less important or more important. Okay, it's all important. But how can you live to your fullest potential and fulfill your ripple effect if you're working for somebody else doing something that you don't even love 40 hours a week, right? So, and what I mean by your ripple effect is, like I said, we're all here for a purpose. We're all here to fulfill some destiny of some sort, right? Our life purpose is whatever we're here to fulfill. So by us stepping into that and, completing our purpose, living in our true essence, the reason why we're here, that not only obviously fulfills the purpose of being here in terms of who we're here to help, right? Or like I say, in terms of like Tony Robbins, obviously he's here to motivate hundreds and thousands of people, right? And he's here to help you break out of the mundane Groundhog Day situation and realize that you are made for so much more, right? Amanda Francis, if you follow her, she's here to empower women to have, the money that they deserve, because we need money to experience life to the fullest, right? Money does not make you happy. Trust me. That's you need to be happy before you can manifest the money. But to experience life to the fullest, to travel and to eat well and to, treat our bodies well and to clothe ourselves in ways that make us feel good. Like that all costs money, right? It costs money to live. It costs money to have a house. It costs money to drive around. It costs money to see the world, right? Things cost money. And by us living in our purpose, like I say, not only are we helping the people that we're here to help, but we're also inspiring those around us to fulfill their purpose, right? And more importantly than any of that, by you living in your purpose, by you fulfilling whatever it is that you're here to do, you are living at the highest vibration, right? And when you're living by the highest vibration, that vibration ripples out to the people around you, right? Think about how you feel after a shitty day at work, right? You're down, you're moping, you're not, maybe you're annoyed, maybe whatever it is. Maybe you just want to go to bed when you get home, you've had a bad day, whatever. That vibe spreads too, right? That vibe spreads to the people around you in traffic, to your coworkers, to your spouse, to your kids, to your family, right? To the checkout person at the grocery store, to the bank teller, everybody, right? But on the flip side, by you living in your purpose and really feeling like, you're here for a reason. You've figured out why you're here and you're living in that, and you feel good about the difference you're making in whatever way that is. That spreads out too. I cannot tell you how amazing it feels to know that there are people out there whose lives are better because I have decided to follow my purpose, right? So my life has meaning and fulfillment, and it feels incredible. And that spreads out to my household, my family, my clients, anybody watching me, even if they haven't worked with me in any capacity. I would hope that I'm inspiring them to step up and say the things that they need to say and live in their purpose as well, right? Also, more often than not, I'm in a good mood, right? So that spreads out too. When I'm at the grocery store, I'm extra nice to the tellers and the grocery clerks and the people at the gas station and whatever else, because I'm living in a higher vibration, right? And not only that, when you're living in that higher vibration, you're also living in alignment with your purpose, right? And when you're living in alignment with your purpose, things just seem to flow for you. For example, and this is going to sound unrelated, but it's not unrelated. The other day, for example, I went to get my haircut, and I have to go all the way downtown Vancouver. So I'm looking at, on a good day in no traffic, it's still going to take 45 minutes to get there. Okay. And we left the other day. My husband came with me downtown so we could take the HLV lane and et cetera. And we even hit a traffic jam in rush hour traffic. Like my appointment was 10. We left the house at, I think, 8:45 or something, 8:50. So in rush hour traffic, it doesn't really make sense that I can get there on time. But I know, because I'm living in alignment in all of the other ways in my life, or, more often than not, at least, right? We all have bad days. It happens. I just thank the universe for the magnificent outcome. I imagined us getting there early. I imagined us getting a spot right outside, even though we hit the traffic jam. I did text my hairdresser and I said, look, I might be a few minutes late. Just want to let you know I ran into a traffic jam. Obviously, I'm going to do everything I can to get there. Still, somehow we ended up going around the traffic, kind of through the traffic jam, but then it was smooth sailing from there. Not only did I get there early, but literally as we pull up on a very busy street that normally is not a lot of street parking, like my sister literally stopped going to this hairdresser because she can never find street parking. And the closest parkade is quite a walk down the way. And downtown Vancouver parking is a little bit of an investment too. So she just stopped seeing her. But I knew we were going to get a spot right out front. And as we pull up, 15 minutes early, I might add, a car is literally pulling out front of the door that I needed to go into on Water Street in Gaston. So anybody who lives on the West Coast in BC, in Vancouver, Lower Mainland, like, you understand how miraculous that is. Okay. So we just pull in, I go into my appointment. It's all good. Right. These are the kinds of things that you experience on a daily basis. When we travel, everything works out for us. We end up coming, even up to accidents and stuff on the highway. We end up pulling up right when it's being cleared, or right when they're allowing this side of the road through, and we get the best camping spots, and we end up getting, great deals on rentals and all kinds of things, right? Like, things just work in alignment because it comes back to the basics of, I am living and fulfilling my purpose. We are all here for a reason. And because I am fulfilling the reason that I am here, things work out for me, right? I am in alignment, and that's what I want for all of you. So that's why I want to talk about turning your passion into an online business that replaces your income, so that you can leave the job that you don't love. Even if you do like your job, does it fulfill the reason that you're here? Do you feel like you are missing out something? Do you feel like there's more? You're capable of so much more. You're meant for greater things than sitting behind a desk or in customer service of some kind. Right? And like I was saying, ultimately, it only serves the world. It only benefits everybody for you to be living in your purpose. And imagine if everybody was living in their purpose, big and small, right? Imagine if everybody was living in their purpose and they were living in alignment with why they're here, and they are serving in the way that they are meant to. And they're awake to the fact that they are here for a reason, and that there is a bigger reason to be here than just to live and pay bills and take the weekend off. Right? It only serves the world, because by you living in your purpose and serving the world in whatever way you're supposed to, like I said, that ripples out to not only your clients, but to your family, to everybody you come into contact with. The world would be such a better place if everybody was on board with this. Okay. So I want to today talk about how you can determine what you're supposed to be doing and how you can turn that into a profitable business. Okay. So first, let's talk about how you choose, which purpose to pursue, or which passion that you want to turn into a business. Okay. So this is a lot of people think it's more complicated than it is. And I think it's because it's so easy that people get tripped up. Okay. So first of all, you want to think back on something that you have been through in life that either coming out the other side, you're a better person for, which is generally what happens, right? Or something you've been through that now that you've come out the other side, you know that if you had somebody to kind of coach you through it, kind of hold your hand through it, would have been so much easier to get through. But because you didn't have that, you had to figure it out and piecemeal it together. And I don't know, maybe it involves reading books and taking courses and whatever. Maybe it just involves trials and tribulations of life. Maybe it involves going and seeing a counselor, whatever it is, right? Anything that you've been through that you can help somebody else through and make their transition through it easier, that's a great place to start, right? Everything that we've been through, we've been through because we are ultimately, there's a reason for it, right? Like, especially us as light workers, and chances are if you're here listening to this right now, you are a light worker, whether you realize it right now or not. Okay. And as light workers, we are put through the ringer a lot of the time. We have, and I personally believe that a lot of the light workers of today are put through more trials and tribulations than the average person. I don't know why I put it in air quotes, but anyway, because all of the things that we've been through not only open other doors to help more people, but it also gives us more ways to relate to the people that we need to relate to, right? How do you start to trust somebody and realize that what they have to say is valuable? Because you relate to something that they're saying, right? You understand that they've been where you have been, or where you are right now, right? And that's how you're going to talk to who ultimately is your ideal client, or the people that you are here to serve. You're going to speak to them in a way that allows them to understand that you know exactly what they're going through, and that you have the recipe to help them make that transition easier the rest of the way. Okay. You can also turn a skill or a talent into a business. Okay. Like I've used in a previous video, I was talking about my husband's cousin, who is an amazing knitter. And we were talking about how she can scale her business by selling patterns and teaching knitting classes and teaching, workshops and things like that, right? If you have a skill or a talent, I've seen people create workshops and profitable businesses around around oral sex. And I've seen people create profitable businesses around, teaching people how to sing and teaching people how to speak more clearly, and obviously teaching people how to create businesses and teaching people how to become great coaches and teaching people how to manage their money better and teaching people how to start Airbnb businesses. And, what else? There's all kinds of things out there to learn how to build, construction or woodworking, or to whittle spoons, or what, like literally you can turn anything into a business, literally anything. And further to that, I want to say, even if you don't know anybody else in your like existing realm of friends or family who is not necessarily interested in what you're interested in, like maybe you feel like I'm the black sheep because I'm the only one interested in whittling spoons, for example. Although everybody is unique, we are very similar too, right? And each of us essentially is a representative of a percentage of the population. And what I mean by that is, so if you're interested in whittling spoons, there is a percentage of the population who is also interested in whittling spoons. Okay. So, or starting an Airbnb, or, managing their money better, or starting an online business, or wanting to be like, whatever it is, wants help with their relationship, or whatever. You are a representative of a percentage of a population, which means if you're interested in something, if you've been through something and you want to help somebody else through it, I guarantee you there is a market for it out there. Okay. Like we're not that unique in this sense, right? And another way to look at it is, do you have a message? Do you believe in something with such conviction that you know the rest of the world needs, right? So for example, how I knew I was meant for this kind of work is after I was introduced to The Secret. I watched the documentary on Netflix after it was recommended to me, and literally minutes into this documentary, I had this overwhelming compulsion to share this information with the world. I thought, how is it possible that more people don't know about this? Like, I wish that I had, like, how don't I know about this already? Right? Like, how is this hidden information? Right? Of course, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? But if you believe in something so strongly that you know the rest of the world needs to know about it, that is a great place to start. For example, one of my clients just started her coaching business around taking really great care of yourself, not just self-love, but just all around mind, body, soul alignment, really taking care of your mind, body, and soul, right? Really making sure that you are not only eating well and taking the right supplements, but also taking the time to figure out what's going on in your mind and make sure that that's all aligned with, where you're going and what's happening around you and how to, inner peace and all this stuff, right? That is very, very important. That is very, very important, right? And for me, I like to teach people how to manifest their desires. And even more than that now, I love to watch women step into their power, realize what their purpose is, turn it into a business, and start to serve the world in whatever way that they were meant to. Okay, that just lights me right up. So there is something that you have, either a skill, a talent, something you've been through, a message that you know the world needs, that you can turn into a profitable online business with very little cost or no cost. Remember, when I started my business, if you don't know my story, when I started my coaching business, we didn't have any money. So all of the things that I was doing to get my business where it is now, I started with, trial versions, free versions, boiled down versions of things. I didn't have a website. I did everything through Facebook. I used MailChimp, a free email account, to market. I used PayPal. Thankfully, most of the payment processors don't require any upfront costs. They just take a percentage of whatever you charge, which is just, cost of doing business. But the nice thing about that is you're not actually out any money until you've made any money, right? So that's what I liked about that. So once you determine what it is that you're here to do, once you determine what direction you want to go in, and you, of course, if you're not sure, if it's not like a very clear ringing in your ear right now, you can ask the universe, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? I know I'm here to do more. I know I'm here to fulfill some purpose. How do I do that? Where do I start? Give me some inspiration. You ask the universe for that, and you will be shown. In some way, you will be shown, and it will be very, very clear to you when it starts to happen. Okay. Once you determine whatever that is, this is exactly what I did. Okay. You determine what that is. You start a Facebook group. Okay. You start building a community around whatever it is that you are doing. So if you're launching Airbnbs and you want to teach people how to start their own Airbnb, you start a group. Now the naming of the group, you can kind of fiddle with it a little bit, but basically you want to pick something that is searchable. Like, you don't want to name it some one-off thing. You want to name it something like Women Manifesting Self-Employment and Financial Freedom. Like, people are going to be Googling financial freedom or, working from home or self-employment or whatever, right? And that's how they're going to find this group. Okay. So you want to then again, you can change the name. That's not as important, but you want to create a space where the people that you are here to serve can come for information, to be supported, and a space that feels inclusive. And the reason why I like doing Facebook groups is because, especially if you're going to be talking about sensitive things, like, for example, when I started the group, when I started this group, it was a relationship coaching group. And initially why I started a private group is because I thought, well, people coming into my space who are having relationship trouble are not going to want to be commenting and posting on, videos like this on my personal profile that's open to the public, because as soon as you interact with something like that, then your friends on Facebook can see, and it's all of a sudden not private, right? So especially if you're dealing with something sensitive or like spiritual, when it turned into a manifesting group, a lot of people, including me, have people around them thinking that they are losing their mind when they're talking about manifesting, right? So again, you want to create a safe, inclusive environment where people feel comfortable to share what's going on, to ask questions, to engage without the fear of being, judged, mocked, outed, to their families or their friends, right? But also from a marketing perspective, right? You want to create a little community that allows you to speak freely to your ideal clients, and that allows you to get to know the people, right? Because if you're just on, your public profile sharing videos and whatever, that's great. And that'll spread your message wide and far. That's fantastic. But from a marketing, running a business perspective, you have really no way to connect with the people who may or may not be watching the videos, right? Like, it's totally possible that people are watching your stuff or engage or reading your posts, but you never see anything from them. So you have no idea, right? Whereas if they're inside of a group, at least you know that they, even if maybe they're not watching the videos, or maybe they are, you don't know, but at least you have them already in kind of a container where you can nurture them from the inside and make them feel included in a community. People want to feel part of something, right? That is tribe mentality. That goes back to caveman days, right? That is one of the core limiting beliefs that we have, or subconscious, upper limits that we have, is that we feel like we're not going to be accepted if we step out and be who we are supposed to be. Right? Because tribe mentality from caveman days meant if you stood out in a way that other people didn't accept, you'd be kicked out of the tribe. Right? And when we were in tribes as cavemen, I know this sounds crazy because it's so far back, but this is what's programmed into our genes now. When we were in those tribe mentality survival mode before, one person was hunting, and one person was building the fire, and one person was making sure the shelter was good, and one person was watching all the kids, and one, you know what I mean? Like everybody had a job. And it, like they say, it takes a village, right? So if you were shunned for not being accepted or whatever, you're not going to survive, because you can't do all those things by yourself. That's why they're, working in tribes. So that's why, again, the group aspect, creating a Facebook group is a safe bet, because you're creating a safe, inclusive environment where people feel that they can be themselves, and they can ask the questions, and they can get the support, and they feel part of something bigger, right? So that's first and foremost what you want to do there, is create a Facebook group and start to nurture your audience. Now, I always recommend, by nurturing your audience, you want to not only post regularly inside your group, but you also want to show up on video. Live especially is best, because from a marketing perspective, the algorithm prefers live video over anything else. Any video performs better than text, but live video performs the best. Okay. So you want to show up in your group at least once a week, and you want to show up as, predictably, I guess is what I'm trying to say, as possible. So what I mean by that is I go live every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in this group, because what I want to create is a space where, without a doubt, unless I announce otherwise, like last week when we were on vacation, that I'm going to be here live 9:30 Thursday mornings. Okay. That I'm going to be here. So whether you know what I'm talking about or not, if you want to be in my energy live, that you need to tune in 9:30 on Thursday mornings, or you can catch the replays, right? But the reason why you want to do that is a couple of things, right? Showing up regularly creates trust, right? Because you're doing what you said you were going to do. Integrity is very, very important in business, right? It promotes you as the expert, because you're getting up every week and you're talking about a topic that you're confident about and that is helping other people, right? I'm literally giving you all the pieces of how to start your business right now. So I hope you're taking notes, right? And you want to show up predictably. And like I said, with integrity and reliability, being reliable with reliability, so that your audience knows that you're going to be where you said you were going to be. Because that, even though it doesn't really sound like it, that translates into your other offers too. So that when you say, I'm doing a workshop at the end of the month, you want to tune in for that they know that you mean what you say. And then further that, when you are doing, say, a workshop, and I'm going to get into that in a second, and you're offering people to come and work with you, and you say, okay, the price is only going to be this until this day, and then it's going up. You want your audience to be, quote unquote, trained to know that you mean what you say, right? Because a lot of people, I have seen this, they say, I'm going to change the price, or I'm going to show up, or I'm this, or I'm that, and then they don't do it. And now you're not establishing yourself as any kind of professional expert that's reliable and integral to your word, because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And that creates subconscious problems, because now people are not going to necessarily believe that you're going to deliver on what you said the offer is going to deliver on either, right? And this is all happening subconsciously. This is how the mind works. Okay. So you want to create your Facebook group around whatever it is that whoever you're helping, whether it's Airbnb, whether it's spoon whittling, whether it's manifesting, whether it's, money management, whether it's time management, maybe it's creating businesses, maybe it's training, customer service, people in customer service to be better at their jobs, or how, I saw a request actually for, in another group, somebody was saying, is there any healthcare workers, frontline workers, nurses, or whatever the caregivers, whatever the thing was, that are offering programs to help other nurses and other people in frontline healthcare, juggle the stresses of the job and stay sane, especially right now, right? Like how do you balance all of those things so that you keep your wits about you, right? There are needed things like that out there. Okay. So, and you want to be very specific about who you're helping. One of the most frustrating things I see is people are launching their businesses, but they're trying to help too many people. They're trying to spread themselves too broadly, because, and I was there too. I know that niching down, it's called niching down, if you're not familiar with that term, niching down to specifically, like this group, I am specifically helping women who are interested in manifesting self-employment and financial freedom. Okay. And my program, Ripple Effect Academy, helps women leave their 9-to-5 jobs, replace their income with high-level group coaching programs specifically. Okay. And yes, it is very specific. So there's a huge population of the world that does not fit into wanting to create a high-level group coaching program to leave their jobs, right? And that's fine, because what it allows me to do is speak very clearly and intensely to the people who do want to create high-level group coaching programs. And I don't have to worry about hitting, okay, well, this person wants to create one-on-one offers, and this person wants to create a course, and this person wants to write a book. Yeah, you can replace your income with all of those things. Sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. You can replace your income with all of those things, but it makes it very difficult for me to hone in on exactly the step-by-step processes if I'm trying to speak to 5 different ways you can leave your job, right? The Ripple Effect Academy is specifically for women who want to create high-level group coaching programs. And by that, I mean you're charging $300 US or more every single month, recurring income for 12 months. You can obviously charge in full too, or more. I'd like to see it closer up to 500, but we have to work through some of the limiting beliefs around making that kind of money too. So that's why we start around 3 and work your way up from there, replacing your income in 16 weeks or more, in as little as 16 weeks, like I did. Okay. So you want to niche down. And I know that sounds a little bit scary. And somebody, a guy I really look up to, James Wedmore, he says, you want to niche down. You want to get like 10% uncomfortable with how specific you are, because it's in that clarity, in that specificity, that you can speak so much easier. It's not really how I wanted to say that, but you can speak so much easier to the people who need what you have. And not only is it easier for you to speak to them, but it's easier for them to absorb what you're saying, because they know that you're speaking exactly to them. So if we're going to go to the spoon whittling example, not everybody is interested in whittling spoons. Maybe some people are interested in learning how to carve totem poles, and some people are interested in how to make salad forks, and some people are interested in learning how to turn a block of wood into a bowl. That's fine. But you want to get so specific that you're teaching people how to whittle spoons, right? And that sounds a little bit scary on how specific, and it's like, oh my, that's going to limit who I'm talking to. Yeah, it does limit who you're talking to. But like I said, again, it makes it that much easier to talk to them. Trust me. Okay, so you want to get very, very clear on who you're helping and speak directly to that person. And you basically want to narrow it down so that you're speaking to one person. Because again, that one person that you're speaking to is a representative of a percentage of the population. So it's not just that one person that's going to understand that you're speaking to them, but it's everybody who is similar to them that's going to understand you're speaking just to them. But they're going to feel like, is she in my head? How does she know that? How does she know I'm struggling with that? Because you are struggling with that, right? Maybe speak to the fact that you're struggling to pick a niche, right? Other people are struggling to pick a niche too. And that's how you can relate to them. And that's how you build that know, like, and trust factor. So people understand that you understand where they're coming from. And that's how you build that rapport as the expert. And that's how you build the authority so people know that you are the person to come to learn about whittling spoons or starting their businesses or, starting an Airbnb or whatever it is. Okay. And then, like I said, you want to regularly nurture these people. You want to post regularly. You want to be asking them for their feedback constantly, polling them. What do you want to learn? What do you need from me? Would you rather learn X, Y, or Z? And then deliver that. Right? I see a lot of the time too, people are creating offers based on what they think is needed, which is a piece of it. You obviously want to feel good and lit up about what you're teaching and sharing, but you also need to make sure that there's a market for it, right? And there's no better way than market research, because it could turn out that yes, you have a great offer, but the people that you've attracted into your group with your other content or whatever, the name of your group or whatever, is not aligned with the offer that you're trying to create. Right? So that's why taking regular polls and making sure that you understand what it is that the people who are already in your circle need from you, and you can create offers around that. Right? And another kind of offside tip is you can always put together the idea of the offer and take it to market before you create something. Okay? And you can say it's a beta version. Haven't created it. You got to be honest, right? I haven't created it yet. It'll be launched on XYZ day, right? When I launched Ripple Effect Academy back in November, I said, it doesn't start until January. This is what it's going to be. I'm going to create it as we go the first time around. So obviously the first people in are going to be able to help me figure out what pieces may be missing, right? Because sometimes we're too close to the project and we forget pieces because by now it's almost like second nature. Like, we figure, of course people know that, but a lot of times people don't know that. There are people out there who don't know. Like for me, it gets to the point where I'm talking about manifesting. I just assume that everybody knows that their subconscious affects their ability to create their reality, and that you actually can manifest anything you want if you can get your mindset in the right place and whatever. But there are so many people who are still so asleep to that whole thing. Right? So I do need to talk about it. I do need to make a point to say, because there are people out there who don't know yet. Okay. So like I say, you want to create an offer that solves a specific problem and that is going to save your ideal clients, your eventual clients. The offer needs to save them time, money, and energy. Right? And that's why I'm saying, going back to the beginning when I was saying, how do you pick, what area to start with? If you're going into coaching specifically, for example, and you're going to help somebody through a specific problem, the reason you're creating the offer is because you want to say to these people, look, I did it the hard way. I want to give you the roadmap to do it the easy way. Like Ripple Effect Academy, for example, because I had to piecemeal it all together. I'm also quite stubborn. Okay. I'll be the first to admit that I'm quite stubborn. So I thought, no, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need any help. I don't need any this. I don't need any that. I'm going to piece it together myself. So it took me way longer than it needed to. It was way frustrating. I ended up having to go back to work because my business was started and failing. And I was so stubborn about the whole thing that I ended up I dug us into a terrible financial hole, and I needed to go back to work to bridge the gap financially and take the resistance off of the financial piece of it, right? So the reason I created Ripple Effect Academy is so that I can give you all of the pieces. So you don't have to go through the same trials and tribulations that I did, right? The program covers literally everything from choosing your area of expertise for your high-level group coaching program, to launching your business, to getting your mindset and your energy in the right place. Because I will tell you right now, no matter what business you're starting, no matter what strategy you want to use, if your mindset and your energy and your subconscious mind, your limiting beliefs, all of that is not looked at and put in the right place before you start, you might as well not even bother. And that's something I had to learn the hard way, which is why it's the first piece of Ripple Effect Academy, is to make sure that you understand that we need to get your energy in the right place first. And then we go into launching the business, including all of the foundational tech stuff and the free versions of things. Like this is not like you're going to come into the program and then have to invest in this and that and the next thing also. Okay. We launch the business with $0 after the initial investment into Ripple Effect Academy. After that, it's everything is the free versions. Yes, I mean, now I do use Kajabi, which is an investment every single month. And I will talk about that inside Ripple Effect Academy, but it's not necessary. You don't need it right off the bat. You can use Facebook like I did. You can use MailChimp. You can use, Google Docs, PayPal, whatever, all the free things. But like I was saying, Ripple Effect Academy starts with the mindset and the picking your, choosing what it is that you are the expert at, and then launching the business, how to market, how to create content that is aligned with your ideal clients, how to create your offers, how to price the offers, how to market the offers, and how to welcome your first clients. And then how you scale and create an ascension plan so that you can leave your 9-to-5 job in as little as 16 weeks, right? All of the pieces I did not have when I started my business. And I've put this all into one nice package. It's literally every single thing you could possibly need to start your coaching business with a high-level group coaching program that will replace your income in as little as 16 weeks. Okay? Everything that I did and everything, new things that I've learned since then that would have been more beneficial if I had known at the time. Because obviously trial and error over time has worked in my favor too, but I did it the long way. And so this Ripple Effect Academy program allows you to do it the shortcut way, right? So it's saving you time, because instead of doing it over years like I did, you can do it in as little as 16 weeks, right? With 2 launches, which is something we talk about in the program. And it saves you money because you won't have to invest in, you can turn off the shiny object syndrome. You won't have to invest in little snippets here and piecemeal things together and whatever, pay for all these different programs. It's just one thing, right? And in the sense that it saves you money too, is it saves you the financial burden of having to figure it out yourself and piecemeal it together and then have to go back to work and suffer financially, right? And it saves you energy because, again, I'm giving you the A to Z roadmap. This is not like it's only the energetics or it's only the strategy or it's only the marketing or it's only the, whatever. It's all the pieces together to get your business up and running so that you can replace your income and live a life that you are supposed to be living, fulfilling your purpose, right? So your program needs to do the same. Your program needs to save them time, money, and energy. So again, if you're helping somebody through something that you've been through, instead of going through it in however long it took you with whatever kind of struggles you went through, you can give somebody the shortcut, the roadmap, right? And it makes their life easier. And then once you've created your offer, once you've decided what it is that you want to offer, whether it's, like I said, starting an Airbnb business or a coaching practice or knitting workshops or whatever it is that you want to do, you create the offer, you price it, and then what I did and what I recommend to all my clients is the 5-day live workshop. It's called the live launch strategy method. Now, I will say, literally any strategy you want to use will work. There is all kinds of people teaching all kinds of great strategies. They all work if your energy and your mindset are in the right place. The reason I am partial to the live launch workshop is A, because it works for me. I've done it many times and it works. And B, because it gives your ideal audience 5 full days totally immersed with you in your energy. You're teaching great value. I always make a point to offer valuable information in my workshop. So whether at the end of the 5 days, whether you decide to continue on working with me or not, you did get something valuable out of the workshop and you have some tangible things that you can take and create some real results with if you paid attention and took good notes, right? And it allows you to, like I said, really stand in your element as the expert, right? It really, really presents you as the go-to person. And at the end of the 5 days, your ideal clients will go, oh my God, I can't not work with her now. I can't not be in her energy after this whole 5 days. I need more. I need this all the time. I cannot go without being part of this program. I have to be in this energy. I have to have what she has. I don't want to do it by myself. I know that she can make this easier for me. Where do I sign up? And it gives you such a great way to connect intimately with your ideal clients. One of the things that I do and that I teach my clients to do is connect with the people attending your workshops, right? Because at the beginning, it's totally manageable to connect. I mean, now you go to a Tony Robbins thing, obviously you're not going to get a direct message from Tony Robbins. He's got like 300,000 people in his free challenges, right? That's obviously not feasible. But when you're getting going and you've got 200 people attending your workshop, if you set yourself up, like I teach you in Ripple Effect Academy, set yourself up so many messages a day, you can reach out to all 200 people before the workshop is over and really get to know these people, really connect with them and have them understand that you genuinely care about them and their results, whether they work with you or not. Right? That's how you build up your good karma jar too, right? Is by offering really great advice and support for people who need what you have. And yes, I know that sounds like a lot of work, messaging 200 people. Yeah, you know what? It is a lot of work, but you're not going to get where you want to go without putting in the work, right? It's like, I heard a great analogy the other day. She said I was watching a replay of a coaching call, a program that I'm in. And the one girl was saying, well, she's afraid to, I forget what it was, be seen or do the work or whatever. And then the coach said, well, if you're helping people with their fitness goals, for example, they obviously understand that their muscles are going to be sore, right? Like there is work involved. You are going to have to do the reps and you are going to have to lift the heavier weights and you are going to have to run further and you are going to have to, jump up higher or whatever it is, right? Like there is work involved. There is some pain, no gain, right? But it all works in your favor and the universe always supports those who show up for themselves, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say that starting your own business is going to be easy breezy. It's not a lot of work. You can, do it in your sleep. No, it requires work. When I had to go back to work and I was getting my business going and finally launching what is now my signature 12-month high-level group coaching program, I was getting up at 4:30 every single morning before work. I would get up because you only have the capacity to make so many good decisions a day. So I was getting up very, very early. I was spending the first couple of hours of my day on myself. Then I was getting my son and my husband up, getting everybody ready for the day, dropping my son off at daycare for the short amount of time he went there. And then I would go to work and I would use the rest of my good decisions at work. And then I would come home once a week. I would show up in the evening and do a live video in my group. I was also planning a workshop. I was also, doing all these things. I was very, very busy. And I do not promote hustle mode at all. It's all aligned action, right? But it did require getting up early and sometimes it required staying up late. That is just part of the process, right? You have to put in the time if you want the results. You have to put in the effort if you want the results, right? So if you're looking for a way to start a business to replace your income that doesn't require you to put out any energy or effort, you're in the wrong place. Okay. So anyway, like I say, you want to put on this 5-day workshop and you want to be showing up consistently, and the times of the workshop trainings don't have to be the same. Like I like to do them around 10 a.m. every day, the same time every day, but it can be one day can be at 10, next day can be at 1, the next day can be at 12, as long as you're clear about when your clients can find you, right? That's all. You deliver an incredible launch or a workshop, which ultimately leads to a launch. Around day 3, you start talking about how they can continue to work with you if they want to go on past the workshop. You leave it's called cart open for about 7 days. You make sure everybody knows it's closing. You've only got this many hours, this many days, whatever. Price is going up, etc. Bonuses are coming away, whatever it is that you want to include in your launch and in your offer and whatever else. And you deliver an exceptional experience so that even the people that don't come to work with you in that round, they're going to continue watching. I've got a couple of girls in my high level program, Alignment U, that they admitted they watched several workshops before they jumped in. They hesitated, the price went up. They hesitated, the price went up again, and they kept, oh no, okay, I'm not, she's not messing around. The investment keeps going up. I'm going to jump in now. I'm ready. Right? So don't ever think it's a wasted effort. Don't ever think just because your first several lives, nobody hops on live, just because nobody's engaging on your post, that doesn't mean that people are not watching. Right? So you have to continue to show up for yourself and continue to show up for your mission. And eventually it will pay off. The universe shows up for you when you show up for yourself. And one of the best ways you can do that is by being in integrity with what you said you were going to do and with your purpose. And I want to continuously remind you and all of my clients always that it's not about you. It's about your purpose, right? You have to remember to keep your purpose on the forefront. Sometimes you're not going to feel like hopping on live. Sometimes you're not going to want to. Sometimes, you're going to feel discouraged because in my last 3 lives, nobody showed up live. But eventually that effort compounds. And I will say one other thing is what ended up happening for me, and what could easily happen for you too, is the consistent lives that you are doing in your group to nurture your audience eventually can be repurposed into all kinds of things. For example, when I started my podcast, November of 2020, I had been resistant to starting it because I thought it was going to be so much work to have a podcast. And then I realized that my VA, she just took all my previous videos that didn't involve a lot of, backing and forthing, and it was easy to turn into a podcast episode. She just repurposed the audio into a podcast. So my first 20 episodes, I didn't have to do anything because she was using old content that I had created, and she was repurposing and turning it into posts and all this stuff. So again, you never know how that stuff is going to benefit you. That's why you need to show up as your best self each time, because you never know who is going to stumble across those videos down the road, how you can repurpose them later. And not everybody who follows you is going to see the video. There's 645 people or something in this group. Not everybody is going to see this video today. Not everybody is going to see this video this year. There could be somebody who stumbles upon this video in 2023 and it strikes a light bulb, right? Because again, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when you are ready for the information, it is presented to you, which is why some of you are here live now. Some of you are going to watch the replay later. Something that I'm saying today is resonating or is going to resonate with the people who are going to see this video. Okay. And then after you have created the group and you've nurtured your audience, you've done your market research, you're listening to your audience, you're asking them what they need, you're delivering on what they need. You have created your offer that aligns with you and your purpose and your clients and your mission, and it helps solve a problem in a quicker, less costly, less energy output way, right? It saves them time, money, and energy. You put on your 5-day live launch, you deliver the best possible workshop you can. I always connect with my spirit guides and the universe and everybody. I make sure, please allow me to speak in a way that gives the people watching the workshop what they need, whether they choose to work with me or not. Please allow me to deliver an exceptional experience that gets the people attending whatever desired result they come in looking for. Okay. And then you start to welcome your new clients. And then you do it again, right? That's when I buckled down and I created my, what is now Alignment U, and I was ready to leave my job. I launched it twice. I had a 6-week window before the first one, and then I had another 6 weeks before the second one. I launched it twice. That more than replaced my income from my 9-to-5 job, and I was able to leave in 16 weeks from the time that I decided I was doing it, started getting my mindset right and creating my offer, to the day that I left my job was 16 weeks. And if I can do it, you can do it, because I'm not special. I didn't do anything that you can't do. I literally just gave you the entire formula. That's what I did. So you can literally, if you haven't been taking notes, you can go back, you can take notes, and you can take what I've just said and you can run with it. And if you want help to do all of those things, if a high-level group coaching program of some sort is the direction you want to go, then I invite you to ask me for more details about the Ripple Effect Academy, because it is literally one-stop shop, A to Z, complete strategy, mindset, marketing, everything to take you from working in a 9-to-5 that is not aligned with your purpose to nurturing incredible soul-aligned clients while you fulfill your purpose through a high-level group coaching program that replaces your 9-to-5 income. Okay? And I would love to have you. The ladies who are already in the program are loving it. I made a point also, I want to just say really quickly that one thing I've done differently in the Ripple Effect Academy is, I know sometimes you guys know that I like to talk a lot and I like to cram a lot of information into one video. One thing that I have learned about myself and people in general is that when we are busy and we have a lot of things going on and we have goals we want to hit and we feel like we're short on time, me specifically, if I'm wanting to watch a replay of something, or if I'm watching a training in a course or something, if I only have, say, an hour and I click on a video and the video is an hour or the video is an hour and a half, even though I could watch, 20 minutes and then pause it and come back to it at a later time and finish it in increments, chances are I and most people don't watch the video at all. And then you're in the same position you were in. So one thing I've done differently in Ripple Effect Academy is I have made, because I know that the people coming into the program obviously are busy with 9-to-5 jobs and they've probably got kids and there's so many things going on. So to sit down and dedicate, an hour and a half to each training is not necessarily feasible. And I know that people have the tendency to look at how long the video is and then not watch it. I have broken down, the trainings are between 7, 8, and 20 minutes each. So it's very digestible. You can literally pop it on while you're putting your makeup on. You can pop it on while you're making dinner. You can pop it on, take some notes and sit down again. You can pop it on and work alongside of it. I made it very, very accessible so that there is no way that you can't succeed, because I want to make it as easy as possible for you to fulfill your purpose. And I don't want you to have to do it the way that I did it, which was not fun and very stressful. Okay? So with that, I will leave you. I hope that this has been very, very helpful. I hope that you have been taking notes. I hope that you'll come back and revisit this video. If you want me to touch on any of those aspects in a separate video by itself, maybe the launch process or discovering your purpose or whatever, let me know. And I can do another video on just that in an upcoming training. But for now, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much for your attention. I thank you for being in my space. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you back here next Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for another training on manifesting self-employment and financial freedom. Have a great rest of your day.